Uh, Hello, everyone, and happy Pride and happy Juneteenth. My name is Jennifer Love Williams. I'm an entertainer and activist. I am one of the organizers with Reclaim Pride Queer Liberation March, and I am honored to be sponsored by them today as I put on this amazing event titled My Pride Intersects with Juneteenth. Um, I want to thank everyone in advance who is tuning in live, and I also want to thank you guys who will go back and watch it later on. I want to bring out my amazing panelists, but before I do, I want to make sure that the public understands the importance of this moment, and that importance is to make sure that I have Black and queer voices be heard, give their thoughts, give their opinions about life. And I hope y'all like looking at Janet Jackson back there. With that being said, let me bring on my amazing panelists. And each one, when I bring them on, will tell you a little bit about themselves. First up, we have Jamell Tutler.
Hey everybody, happy Pride. My name is Jamell Tutler. I'm better known as J. Omar. I am a 3-time author, a web series producer, political activist, and if you've been tuning into Jennifer's podcast or presentations for a minute, the bestie she talks about for 30 years, that's me.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for being here with me today. Next up, oh, and what's your pronouns?
My pronouns are he, him, they.
Thank you. Next up, we have Sasha.
Hi, everyone. Happy Pride. Happy Juneteenth. Thank you, Jennifer Love and Reclaiming Pride for NYC for having us here. And I'm a Jersey City native. I am a full spectrum doula, both birth and end of life. And I've just been advocate for queer and trans rights, and just happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being here and joining this moment. Last but not least, we have Deej.
Hey everyone, my name is Deej McCoy. Pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am based in Philadelphia, and I am a local drag performer and a burlesque performer and a Philly native.
Thank you guys once again. Let me just get right into some amazing questions. Let me start off with, and in no particular order, but I guess I'll just call on you guys and just run with it. I want to make sure that you guys know that I want you to be able to be you. Feel free, speak as you need to speak. This is an adult program, and say it like you mean it. Mean what you say what you mean. With that being said, first question, guys, is why is it important to acknowledge the intersection of everything that makes your identity? Let me go with Deej.
I knew you were going to start with me because you don't know me that well. So it's important to acknowledge the intersection because each of those parts make up the identity. Each part has its own struggles and problems that we have to overcome. And it makes our overall existence that much more challenging and that much harder to push through, work through, to try to, stay on top of things and attempt to thrive.
Sasha?
When I think about like intersections and like parts of us so to make us us, there's different parts that some I'm sorry, my intersections, and I think about like how they come together and how I wouldn't be myself if I didn't acknowledge them. As a Black queer woman, there are so many things that are against us in a sense of oppression that I have to like actually recognize these and be able to, like Deej said, to thrive in this world, and it shapes how I move in the world.
J. Omar.
So when you think about the intersectionality of all of those things, for me, they're all about a sense of freedom, a sense of the total freedom. If you think about Juneteenth and the fact that there were slaves who didn't know that they were free until these people got there to say, oh, you all didn't know? And if you think about queer liberation and the Pride marches, it's all about a sense of freedom that's born in us, that was stripped away from us, that we have to reclaim back for ourselves. So it's important to acknowledge it because it makes the total person free, not just queer freedom, not just Black freedom. It makes the total person free, if that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. I was going to answer that question myself. Yeah, I think I will. I know for myself, I think that for so long, so many people had me to believe that I had to always separate it. And you can't take me and put me into two pieces. I am a whole person. So my visions and the way that I think and the way that I navigate in this world would be because of that. And I it's like being in a sucky space, to be forced when it comes to queer life is you gotta be, you're not like, oh, you're too focused on being Black. We need you to only focus on being queer. When it comes to Black people, I want you to only focus on being Black. And at the end of the day, I'm a Black trans woman, so I fall under the queer umbrella of Black people. And I think people don't realize that. That's like telling a Black Muslim that you can't be Islamic and Black, or whatever may have you. I don't want you to be in two. Why are you making me be in two?
Right.
Here you go. Question number 2, right? Would any of you like to share any specific examples for either positive or negative experiences you've seen or heard about relating to the intersection of Black and queer identities? Want to read it again?
Yes.
Would any of you like to share any specific examples for either positive or negative experiences that you've seen or heard about relating to the intersection of Black and queer identities? Let me start with J. Omar.
And see, you've known me for the longest amount of time, and you've met my family. So the only experiences I have of my intersectionality is positive. I didn't grow up with the experiences of a lot of other queer youth and young adults that came about during the 90s, where people were being abandoned and thrown out. I come from a very large family, and I love to tell this story. All of my uncles are over 6'2". All of my uncles are well over 200 pounds. They were basketball players, football players, these manly macho men. And me, from a very early age, my family knew that there was something different about me. They never labeled it because they didn't want me to feel like I had to label it. They wanted me to feel comfortable enough in my skin to be a whole person. Going back to what we talked about earlier with the first question, to be free as a whole person and not have to put my queerness ahead of my Blackness, or my Blackness ahead of my queerness, as most people tell us we have to do. They wanted the whole person to be free. I was Black and queer at the same time. So I don't have any negative experiences. I only have the positive, loving, nurturing, embracing, wholehearted, full-throated backing of my family. Like I've heard of some of the horror stories, but I don't have any. I only have the positive.
That's awesome. Same. Growing up, I don't even know if I had an idea of what queerness was. I knew something was different. I'm like, it's a little off, or something was a little off of me. And I think my grandmother and my mother picked that up, and they wanted to love me. And I don't think I was comfortable enough in my queerness as a young person, but as growing up and coming into that and realizing, oh wow, okay, so I'm Black, but there's also something different about me. And I don't know if I had any negative experiences until maybe college, and I won't even call them negative. It's just things that you point out. Like you'll have your Black student union on campus and going there and not feeling comfortable enough because I don't see other queer people like myself. But then also going to the LGBTQ clubs on the campus as well, but also not seeing myself. So not seeing myself in certain spaces was definitely an eye-opener, and it just brought more of the intersectionality of like who I am as a person, and had to come to terms with all of that.
So I have a bit of a like combination of both, because growing up, I definitely felt like I was the only one. For the longest time, I was the only queer one in the family. And then there were more things to come out as. So I didn't really, there weren't people that I could even like talk to about like queerness in general. It was frowned upon when it came up in movies or like anything my parents or relatives caught wind of. So I knew I wasn't solely straight, but there was no one I trusted within my family to like share that or even just talk out the feelings that I had. It wasn't until like I got to college and after that I went to college, but like I saw other people like including other like Black queer people like that came from out of state, and so like I was actually exposed to more individuals and I started to feel less and less alone. I didn't start identifying as non-binary until like 2014 2015, so it was like after I graduated, so it had to be at least my mid-20s. So I didn't even have the word non-binary to use back then. So as I got older, I left my family of origin to find my chosen family, and that includes a lot of Black, queer, and trans people, because like I often felt like an alien, and because it's like, how am I so vastly different from everyone else? But like there were other people who felt the same way in their families, and so like we just kind of build this like hybrid, like it's a little alien party over here, but we're each other's family. And so with that experience that I had, I was able to like find others who had similar experiences and like help them not feel alienated like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The concept of chosen family is just so beautiful to me, because you find community in people who are like you, especially, I don't know, Black youths who are kicked out of the house for being gay, being queer. They get to find that joy and comfort in other people. So chosen family is just so important.
What's funny is, like, you know, some people say they thought they were the only ones in their family. This goes to show how close of attention my family paid to me, because I had my cousin David and my cousin Stephanie. My cousin Stephanie, she was in the women. My cousin David was in the men. My cousin David sat me down one day and he called Stephanie into the room when he sat me down. And I've told Jennifer this story before. So I was about 12 going on 13. And my cousin David said, "Stephanie, look at him." And she looks at me, she goes, "Yeah, I know already." And I look like, you know what? And he holds my face in his hands and he says, "You're not going to get this now, but I need you to keep this in mind for when you get older." I said, "Okay." He said, "I need you to be a dumb blonde, but an intelligent brunette." I said, "Huh?" He said, "You've seen Three's Company." "Yeah." He said, "You can act like Chrissy Snow in public, but be Janet at home." I was like, "Can I go finish playing now?" But when I got older and I got to college, and I have a witness on the panel with us, I understood what he meant by allowing people into my space, but understanding that I have to pay very close attention because not everybody means good for me. I can have a good time with everybody, but everybody doesn't mean me good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when I met Jennifer and we met all of these other people about creating families, like we created a family to where we would go out to New York City, 18 years old, going out to New York City to walk up and down the pier for 15 hours and do nothing else. But in my mind, the first few hours was Chrissy Snow bopping around, acting like I don't know no better, having a great time. But by the time that 6th and 7th hour kicked in, I became Janet. Oh, I need to find Icy. I need to find Sweets. I need to find Jennifer. I need to find all these people. And everybody's like, why? Because we came together. We're going home together.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, well, you're not that parent. Speak for yourself. If I say we're going home, we're going home. As soon as I said, let's go, everybody was like, it's time to go. So speaking of chosen families, I took on the mantle of everybody's protector, not because I had to, or not because they needed it, but because it was already put in my head, okay, be this person in public, but make sure you're still this person. I'm babbling, but go ahead.
You know, there's often times when you see me post, and I post about him and pictures of he and I and stuff like that, and I call him my other half. Some people take it and run with it in the sense of something romantical or sexual between us.
And they always have.
I think so. Some people always do. But in all reality, when I first met him, when I first seen him, there was something about his strut, the way he held himself, that I know now to identify it as self-hate. But at that time, it was just something about it that had me so daggone intrigued. And everything about him was something that I was feeling inside, but you had to keep it bottled in. You had no one to talk to. And I don't think that I would be able to sit here comfortable in the flesh that I have if I didn't meet him. That started me to be able to have a safe space. I just spoke at a high school on Thursday morning, and that was one of the things I expressed to them. When you find your safe space, cherish it and fall into each other. Because I've always been able to come to him. The only thing that I ever really been scared to tell him was that, hey, like when I first started to transition and become Jennifer. And all he was like, okay, and wait a minute, you don't think I'm about to do that? No, he said.
But you have to explain why. You can't just leave it because whatever Jeffrey did, they assumed at the time. Whatever Jeffrey did at the time, they assumed Jamell was going to do shortly thereafter. And so when she called me, and I was living in South Carolina, she goes, "Oh, I want to tell you something." I'm like, "Okay, go ahead." She said, well, what was the one thing? So when I tell the story, go ahead and laugh because it's funny. She said, what was the one thing we said we weren't going to do when we were younger? I said, what, be a prostitute? Because when we saw the kids going to 14th Street, because back then that 14th Street meant you went to go make a little money so you could either eat or get to the club or whatever. So my first thought was, what, be a prostitute? And she goes, no. What was the other thing? I said, become a woman? And she didn't even say yes. Without skipping a beat, she said, I did it one time for Halloween, and I just found myself. I paused. I took a deep breath. She said, you there? I said, you don't expect me to do that, do you? She went, no. Okay, we good then. I don't care. But can I just mention something really quickly? And I hope you don't mind me telling this story, because you know what story I'm about to tell. Your comfortability level around my family.
Oh, go ahead.
So when she started the transition, and this goes to, like, when I say I grew up in a family that put their arms around me and held it that way, and anybody I brought into the circle, because I didn't bring a lot of people into my circle. Anybody I brought into my circle was immediately embraced by my family. So when we met, and I'm going to start at the beginning. When we met Jeffrey in college, I brought Jeffrey home, and they were like, oh, okay. And then I transferred schools, but no matter where I went, Jeffrey still came home on the weekends with me. Jeffrey was at one school, I was at another. Fast forward a few years later, I just moved back to New Jersey, and my family always cooked these big dinners on Sunday, and we invited everybody over. So I was on the phone. I was like, well, Jennifer, everybody's cooking Sunday dinner. You want to come over? And she's like, well, yeah, but I don't know how everybody's going to feel. I said, well, I've already told them, so come on. And I had already told my uncles and everybody, well, y'all remember Jeffrey from college now? And everybody was like, yeah. I said, well, Jeffrey's becoming Jennifer, just so y'all know. And everybody was like, okay. We go to the house to get Jennifer. She comes downstairs. She has a scarf on her head. I like to call it a 5 o'clock shadow. She's corrected me several times and said it was a little thicker, but I'm still going to stick with a 5 o'clock shadow. And she comes out the house and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. My response was, are you sure? She said, yes. And I said, okay. We get to the house. She walks in and my uncles are like, hey. And so when she walked in the house, one of my cousins stopped before he hugged her and said, I thought you were becoming Jennifer. She goes, I am. My cousin said, then if you don't take your ass back home and put on some makeup and cut that damn beard off, I ain't talking to you like this. Took her back home. Brought her back. Everybody's hugging her and this and the other thing. And from that moment on, and I've never had to correct my family with saying Jennifer and her. As soon as they see her, it's automatic. And I want to apologize to her for using her previous name, but I wanted to do it just to emphasize that my family has loved her no matter what skin she's come in, no matter what drag she's put on, no matter what woman she's becoming, didn't matter. She's been a part of the family. She's going to always be a part of the family.
Okay. Thank you for sharing with me, babe. For the public that's viewing, don't think I'm not engaging. I'm not paying attention. I am reading. Oh, sorry. I am reading my notations, and my glasses are bifocals, so I only can read from the bottom. So don't think that I'm not engaging. I'm reading to keep track of time and questions to move around. So let me go right into question number 3. As Black queer people, we are often oppressed by our own Black community, let me say. Please talk about some of the struggles within the Black community, especially when it relates to the queer folk.
Can I start?
Go ahead.
Me first. So the first thing is when traits that don't align with like stereotypical Black behavior, and that can be defined a number of ways depending on who you ask, it's classified as white. So oh, that we're not doing that gay shit. That's some white people shit. And it's like, no. And like, I didn't even have all the vocabulary like then that I have now. But even then, it's like, no, because like I grew up around Black people, and I remember the first time I saw Salt and Pepper's Shoop, and yeah, I wasn't just ogling at the guys on the beach. So, so like I've enjoyed like people of all varieties for a very long time, and it had nothing to do with my proximity to white people or any other people. It's like, this is me. This is my body saying, hey, we are attracted to like not just like, this is an outdated term, but I'm not sure how else to phrase it, male-bodied and female-bodied people. So like, but I just don't understand why it even matters in the first place. Like, no one said you have to. Like, but this is my experience. This is what I like. This is what I believe will make me happy. Everything else is redundant. Is irrelevant. Like, because this is I don't. At the end of the day, I have to live with myself, and I'm not going to live the happiest I can be if I'm trying to follow. If I'm trying to be who you want me to be, because right. I don't know that, and those things can change constantly. Like, it's a losing game if you're trying to live up to someone else's expectations. Right. Be yourself. Do what resonates with you, because like we are all we have at the end of the day. When we close our eyes, we are dealing with self. And if you're not happy with yourself, then the rest of existence is just going to be a pain to bear.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Sasha? Sasha. You're muted. You're muted.
I'm sorry. Okay. Can you repeat the question for me one more time?
Say it again.
Repeat the question for me one more time. Yes.
As Black queer people, we are often oppressed by our own Black people. Please talk about some of the struggles within the Black community as it relates to Black queer people, queer folk. I like saying that word, folk.
I like that word too. The biggest one I can think about is the Black church for me.
Talk about it.
And just reasons why I even left the Black church. As we know, Black church is like the pillar of our community, the spirituality. You go for communion with God, but it's so hypocritical in a way. And it's like, if I belong here, do I really belong here? And you're not making me feel this way. And it's also we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to ask. We're not going to tell. And just some churches are just not open to having people of different gender identities, sexualities. And you get on the pulpit, and you might have a closeted deacon, a closeted preacher, but we don't know anything about that. Also, I just kind of feel like the Christian church is kind of, in a way, capitalizes off of queer people too, because like our choir directors, the musicians, some obviously a little gay, but we're not going to talk about that. But we're going to reap the benefits of you bringing your money to the church and keeping this church going. So I just find it very hypocritical, and I just think, yeah, just hypocritical. So I see a lot of oppression through spirituality in Black churches against us.
Yeah, and it's still sadly.
It's all of those things, but I'll touch on our activism and how we're oppressed even in that, because even in our activism, we can't be in the Black Lives Matter march and be queer. We can't march for women's body autonomy and be queer. We can't, we have to pick a side, and it's just like, you want my voice and my vote when it helps you, but you want me to not be who I am and give those things to you. Not realizing that all of these things interconnect. If they take away your body autonomy, my marriage is next. Once my marriage goes, my voting right goes. Once my voting right goes, then I'm back to being 3/5 of a person. You can't want me to march with you, but want me to suppress my sexuality because you feel like it sheds what kind of a light on your movement, because I'm not out there sucking a dick while we're marching. I mean, so for me, it's just, if you want us to, because our dollars make up a whole hell of a lot of the economy. If you want us, if you want our dollars, if you want our activism, if you want our voices, if you want our votes, shut the fuck up and march alongside of us so we can get it done. My sexuality ain't got nothing to do with what we got going on right here. It's a part of me and what I'm trying to get done. And if what I'm trying to get done helps you, let's walk together.
You said it. I sit here and one of the biggest problems for me in our Black community, especially when it comes to the Black queer, in relation to the treatment of the Black queer, is the disenfranchisement of us as Black people. We are like become so conditioned to pick us off and beat the hell out of us. The Black trans woman, the main killer of us is the Black man. Yet I shouldn't have to be scared to be around you. And at the same token, I'm fighting for you. And how do I know that me fighting for you, you're not going to be my killer? A couple of weeks from now, let me give you a quick example. A young man had met me recently, and he paid me a compliment. I thanked him. He asked me to exchange numbers. We did. I didn't respond one day. I've been busy. Anybody should know. Gemini season, Pride season, Juneteenth. Oh yeah, I am burnt out. Okay, I cannot be responding to some boy who's in heat every fucking day in 5 minutes. Excuse me, right? I just met you literally the other day. I don't respond. You called me a bitch and a whore. You know what bitches like me do, and I'm like, wait a minute, whoa. So now I don't want to respond. Then it turned into yesterday of 2 days of non-responses to you, dick sucking faggot. You gonna die anyways. Wow. So you do know that last night I had to keep my alarm on in my damn house. My alarm is on right now. I'm in my house because you just made me that much more fearful of my own city, and I've never really been scared to be in my city. Just because you are a nut I can't explain it. It's a level of some healing that we need to do as the more I learn about us as a people, and I'm looking at all the amazingness that Black folk have created, and knowing now that so many of those Black folks are damn it queer.
Right.
How can you sit here in my face and want to beat the hell out of me? You want to step on me. And I just can't, I cannot gather the concept of it being okay because I'm hurt for me to hurt you too. I'm never going to be okay with hurt people.
Whew.
I do not have a desire to go out here and oppress the next person. If I hurt you, let me know that. Be able to articulate that to me. And we're going to agree to disagree, or I'm going to apologize because telling me I hurt you. And if I understand why I hurt you, it can help me make sure I don't do it again to you or to anyone else. But I don't have a desire to oppress and beat the hell out of no one else because these fools chose to beat the hell out of me. Instead, take that pain that they inflicted onto me and let me utilize to help the others. So hopefully I can protect someone else from going through the oppression that I had to go through.
Right.
Let me go on to another question. And this may go for some feathers, but being Black is an amazing thing. Our feathers are references to the day we were born, and we're still here. When you look at the world and all the Pride celebrations, how do you feel about the lack of queer representation? Do you want me to say it again? Or do y'all want me to lead with that question? Answer that question first.
Your mic's off.
You're muted, babe.
I mean, it's a real slap in the face, honestly, knowing that Pride Month was started, Pride riots were started by Black trans women. So how do us as Black people get left out of this celebration or celebration of queerness and pride when we are really the ones who fought for all of this? So it's kind of mind-blowing to me.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm not going to answer. I'll answer after everybody else goes. Go ahead. Deej, J. Omar.
Oh, I mean, I was taking a deep breath, but I'll answer. Like for me, it's a ha-ha moment because what we'll take something and we'll do something out of the kindness of our hearts or as an upliftment to the community, whereas the white and other community will come in and they'll see the dollar sign in it. And when they bring the idea to us of the dollar sign, it's, well, let's just make it better. Let's make it better for you. Let's make it this for you. Let's turn it into that for you. And while we're sitting up here saying, well, yeah, you know, our people deserve better. Let's go ahead and let you come in and partner with us. But because we don't have the lawyers, we don't have the expertise to read contracts, we don't have the people in our ear saying, well, make sure that when you sign this or when you agree to this, that you're still retaining the right to this, or that you're still you still have like 80% of the stake or majority of the say so that they don't take over what you're doing and make it about them. Because Pride celebrations now have become about them and not us. And when I say them, I don't necessarily mean the white gay community. I mean, it's become about Bacardi. It's become about Citibank. It's become about all of these big corporations who now want to interject their money, because what they realize is, and it goes back to something I said earlier, our dollars go a long way. Mm-hmm. And our dollars spend. When we come to these celebrations, because if you go to these Black Pride celebrations, most of us are shopping, eating out, buying our friends tickets, staying at these hotels that are close to the neighborhood that went up 80% on their market price so that they could, you know, charge us a little bit extra, make a little bit extra money on a room that only cost $200 yesterday. And these companies realize that, and they figure, oh, well, if you're spending all your money on this, well, let me show you this too. The clubs, let me get your money too. And as opposed to us holding back and saying, well, no, we're here for the celebration of it all, we go out and buy a new outfit. We spend rent money on a plane ticket. We spend light money on a hotel. We're giving away all of this money to these people, and none of what they've done is catered to us. And don't get me wrong, I've marched in the parade for the last, 5 years with my husband as part of the DOE. And even he's frustrated with it. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I just wanted to stop being about dollars and cents and go back to what it was about. It was a sense of liberation. It was a sense of pride. It was a sense of community coming together to celebrate us, because we don't get celebrated in these other spaces. We get made fun of on TV. We get talked about behind our backs. We get used for the talents that we have, then called all kinds of names the minute we walk out the room. But we're giving these people our money. I'm over it.
Go ahead, Deej.
So I agree that it's also infuriating. I'm native to Philly, and I've only ever lived here. And so this year and like the last few years, there's been kind of an overhaul of our Pride organizers, and so this year was not what it used to be, but from the prides that I go to, I usually wasn't able to go because it was you had to pay to get in. And it's like, oh, well, you lost my attention, because like when it, like a lot of people struggle with like having money in the first place. So once you put a cover on it, and it's like, okay, well, people who already don't have money can't go. You don't have to buy things, but you can just be around your people, or just queer people in general. But it was also not it was not accessible. There were stairs around, like around the area. It was over by Penn's Landing. So like we've gotten a lot better, but like to piggyback on what Sasha said, it's like, how are you going to exclude us when we started it? Like, and like, I wish like we could get more into like accessibility and like queer events in general, but like there are also Black, queer, trans, and disabled people. I am also one of them. So things need to be a lot more accessible as well, because things with a bunch of steps, multi-floors, people with wheelchairs can't get in. People who don't do stairs well can't get in. Like the whole virtual ACT platform shouldn't have gone away, because there's still people who can't get into those spaces. And not to mention, that means more people could attend from out of state who wouldn't have been able to go in the first place. There's just so many things, like just being mindful of other people. Just like, you can think about extra things. You don't just have to cater to the ones that can physically give you money. Like, it's just, yeah, I have a lot of opinions about that.
Thank you for sharing that. When it comes to Black queer representation, it sucks. Not just during Pride. For me, I get frustrated because so many Black queer people who get a platform are using it to be modern day Jerry Springer side pieces. And it's not okay. Likes and clicks and being given $5,000 is worth your soul for you to be an ass. Do you think people are really respecting you and loving you? No, sweetheart, they are laughing at you like an ass. Now, I could understand if you had to do the damn Jekyll to do the gesture role to get you some coins to build your empire. But at this point in time, this is when we need to start building together to make things and create things, because right now, whether it's Pride time or not, the only time I'm seeing Black trans women on the commercial, Black gay men, Black lesbians, I'm only seeing them on a Victoria commercial. Shit, I didn't know what Victoria was at first, and then I had to be like, hold up, why they only got Black people here too? Then this other little boy with dreads who at school. So wait, so you mean to tell me that Black queers ain't shaving? They ain't doing, I don't want to see them doing drag race either. I want to see them doing the regular times, like when I'm seeing the regular Caucasians on the commercials. Why aren't I seeing the Black queers? You do know we do drink coffee too. We do shop. We are moms and dads and things of that nature. It's just suck. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that. When it comes to Black queer culture, there is so much that's being showcased to the world right now. However, it's not by the Black queers who have created it, and that's just what you I was talking about, such as the ballroom craze that's here now, which has always been here, that started by Black queers to create their own space. And we often sit here and call it inviting you to the cookout type shit. And ultimately, this is what you two just pretty much touched on. It becomes you're showing it and you're showcasing it, but it's not by us. So I'm just gonna skip that question, because whether they knew it or not, they just talked about it. What are your thoughts on the banning and things of that nature of critical race theory, and in so many ways let me just stick with that for now.
America wants to whitewash its history. Period. Like you have these Republicans and it's not just Republicans. So but I'm gonna start there. You have these Republicans who, let's back up. You know, Jewish people can make a movie about the Holocaust all day long, and Jewish people will go see it. Asians can make a movie about Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and Asians will go see, and we'll go see it too. But the minute Blacks want to make a movie and showcase something like Homicide or something like 12 Years a Slave, something like that, it becomes, oh, you're trying to blame, you're trying to hold over our heads what happened so many ages ago, and we're not those people, and da 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 da. You're not those people, but you still haven't given us what we were promised. And if the only way we can make what first thing is, in order to not repeat this shit, because I firmly believe Donald Trump was trying to help them head us back towards all of this bullshit. In order for us to not repeat this shit, these younger kids who don't believe that it's real anymore need to know what actually happened. Need to see some of the scars and things that we still wear from those experiences, because it wasn't that long ago where if you looked at a white woman, your black ass got lynched. If you were sleeping with a white man, you were beat up. To sit here and tell me that learning about my history, your history, and how our histories intersect, because it makes your white skin feel bad, it should be banned. Take your happy ass somewhere and eat a piece of fruit.
Not a fruit.
Because it's almost like it's okay for Holocaust victims to be taught about the Holocaust. Yeah, you get some people who have an issue with it, but it's okay for them to be taught about the Holocaust. Asian people can be taught about, as I said, Hiroshima and Nagasaki and all that other stuff, and it's okay for them to be taught about that. But the minute you want to educate a black man, you get annoyed. Or a black woman, you want to get annoyed. Or a black child, you want to get upset. So you want to keep a... It bothers me that not enough of us are paying attention to what's being done. We are so willing to believe what we're told. Like the whole issue about and I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, but the whole issue about when they initially changed the history books to call us indentured servants, and it was a black woman who caught that change. It was like, no, whoa. And it took outrage for them to change it back to slavery, because you people want to whitewash America when America still hasn't apologized for the shit they did.
Yeah. I think not only is America trying to whitewash history, but it's trying to erase the history. And the simple fact of, yes, slavery did happen. We are now having these important conversations about structural racism, and our children do need to learn about it because they face it, whether they experience, recognize it or not. But these conversations are critical to have in school by teachers who are trained to properly give proper terms. It's not, like you said, not indentured servant, but slavery. Just so they'll have those conversations and, talking about George Floyd and all the things that are happening in the world. Our children are noticing that. And critical race theory will give them the words and the vocabulary to be able to describe what's happening. And so they can better, prepare for their future and make a better future for their children and their children after that. So these conversations are important to have in school.
Absolutely.
And to piggyback off of that, they would also be able to identify when it's happening to them so that they can speak out about it. So if you don't learn it, then you can't spot it in your own life. I think it's absolute bullshit because we did all this horrible stuff, manifest destiny. We were supposed to do this. There wasn't anyone here when we got here. We just built this out of nowhere. We just moved a few people over that way. And look at how great we made this country. It was all us and no one else. No, if you want us to know, everyone has to come to terms with the bad parts of themselves, individually, collectively, and the United States should do the same, should absolutely do the same. If we're going to be the best, if we're going to be number one, fine. Own up to your shit. Admit you did a lot of fucked up stuff over the course of its development. Can we get past all that shit? Yes. but you can't just deny it didn't happen and then call everyone else crazy. Like, that's gaslighting. And like, we're on a scarily similar route to fascism. Like, it's already present, but this current political climate, like, I remember seeing something that said, if Donald Trump gets in the White House again, he'll never leave. And I believe that. Because, like, they already attempted. Like, and so the next time, for fuck's sake, there are people in Congress, for fuck's sake, that believes all this nonsense. Like, that's the...
I'm with you. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, because I had to.
Because it makes you angry. It makes you angry. And like our future, there are history books that they're gonna write about the shit that's happening now. They ain't gonna be able to Skype because they weren't taught it in school. So that's what I think they're scared of. They're scared of our shit that's happening now being in history books for the future.
Yep.
I know. I remember seeing a time an issue that took place with a Caucasian mother. She felt some type of way because her Caucasian child was saddened by what his people in the past had done. And when you keep seeing all this Karen and Ken type moments, you say to yourself, so you guys want this going so you guys to yourselves can feel good. But fuck my children who don't have the right to know that they were kings and queens. Well, they are, they still are. That we ended up here, not because we came over here to the Statue of Liberty to go become American citizens. No, that we came here. Shit, you were lying about this country before you even got here. These schools, they find it okay to teach about the Holocaust and things of that nature. That's not even U.S. data history.
Yep.
But you want to sit here and wash out the African American shit and the bullshit that you did. You won't even own up to the fact that you guys give us a damn holiday and got resurrected statues around of a man who ain't discovered a damn thing. He came and landed on a land that had people already living and cultivated here. It just,
and it's the wrong man who supposedly discovered it. You want to say Columbus? There was somebody that got here before him.
It just sit here and it's amazing how people. I don't think I ever would have lived to see the day where things my parents told me about as a kid that they had to endure, or my grandparents used to tell me. I never thought I would see that day.
Come back around.
When it's like, yeah, it makes me truly worried. You're supposed to sit here and have children and nieces and nephews and godchildren and can't wait till they get older because they're going to be the ones that's caring for you, right? And at this point in time, it was like, damn, are they even going to make it to be able to take care of me?
Can I explain something why your worry is justified and why all of us should be worried? Because even if Donald Trump does not get back into office, understand that when Donald Trump was elected, he was elected to be a puppet. What they didn't realize is once he got in office, he was a puppet you couldn't control. You could influence, but you can't control. Now they got DeSantis, a puppet they can control.
Boom.
So even if Donald Trump does not get into office, if we elect DeSantis, Donald Trump was the gateway of in sending us back to the 1950s. Why is it that we're the only race of people every, what is it, 10 years, our right to vote comes back up for renewal? Like, make it make sense to me. Donald Trump was the gateway of leading us backward. He started with women. He got the Supreme Court in just the right position to where Roe v. Wade got overturned. Now women are on the chopping block. Give him another 4 years, voting rights will be taken away. Gay marriage will be taken away. Interracial marriage will be taken away. Why? Because they want to make America white again. Fuck great. Because it wasn't never that. They want to make America white again. And if they get DeSantis in office, because the man has no personality, Did you see him interact with the other white guy? And the other white guy didn't even crack a joke. And then when he started laughing, he looked like he was having a seizure. He has no backbone. There is nothing about this man that says I have a policy. Everything about this man says, if you tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it as long as it gets me power.
Boom.
So yeah, your worry is justified, and we all should be worried.
Okay. Let's talk about the importance of supporting other marginalized groups. In other words, people who can birth. Like when it comes to voter suppression, because that's mainly going to affect the Black folk. We're in a day where racism is becoming legalized in so many ways. I was told that's not true, and I said that you're a white person and you're trying to tell me that my race and what my race has fought for isn't under attack. Can we talk a little more about that? Like, we are in PA and Jersey. We have a somewhat level of comfortability that are not the other states, such as like Texas and Florida and some of them others. But I think sometimes that we don't understand that. J. Omar said it earlier. I had tried to talk to someone before, but it was went in out the other. They didn't see what I was saying. And J. Omar said it perfectly earlier. It's that when I sit back, I remember when Trump first started running for talking about going to run for president. And I remember he made the ignorant comments about Mexicans being drug dealers and rapists. I will not lie. Initially, a chuckle came out. It wasn't that what he said was funny. I was shocked that he just said something like that publicly.
Yep.
And then in that instant, wait a minute. If he just said that publicly, what did he really feel? And what did he feel about us? Me and Black people. And this whole man's campaign and everything and the carnage that he left here is about a whole racist situation. I sit here and I watch so many videos of Black folk who are in the military, who are actively in the military, who are literally in deployment in a whole other damn country representing for us. Right? I'm watching them come home to the States. You're only here for 3 to 6 weeks. To walk into a store and have a person making a damn sandwich question you and tell you that you're still less than.
Mm-hmm.
But I guarantee you wouldn't do it to the white man who possibly went to the store and bought his uniform. It's a level of disrespect that I can't fight every battle for every person and still try to fight for myself. It just sucks. And I sit here and I watch so many of us not realize the importance of unity. Because if you're sitting here so concerned with me as a Black trans woman, baby, you do understand women like me have been here. And I ain't talking about no 1980s.
Child.
We have been here. Okay? Black gay men, Black gay women, we have been here. Some of the fights that we have and the rights that we have, you understand that Black queer folks were at the forefront. And they worked side by side and shit. Some of our so-called heterosexual leaders relied on those Black queer people to handle it, to get it done, to get it started. And I'll just be here because that's gonna come against you. But you go, you get it together. I'm relying on you and I'm looking towards you to have the know-how and the ingenuity to make it happen. But yet, you guys don't want to align with me.
But I think that's why I tell people our support of other marginalized groups, it's a double-edged sword. Period. It goes back to what I said earlier. You want our vote, you want our voices, you want us to march, you want us to help, because you know that when we come out in droves. But when it's time to fight for us, we get called every name under the sun, and you don't get down with that, not realizing that whatever issue is coming at us, there is a clause in there that says that they can come at you too. They're just waiting for us to get hit first. Just like, let's go back to the ban on women's reproductive rights. What nobody realized was when that came in and that was overturned, that opened the door so that they could say, well, if women don't have control over their bodies, and we're saying that, you know, only women can reproduce and X, Y, and Z, then now let's talk about gay marriage, because I don't understand. If people just understood that if one sect of us ain't got rights, you may have a right now, but you won't have it in the future. Because if they came after mine, they're going to come after yours. But that's why I say our support of other marginalized groups, it's a double-edged sword, because we have to beg people to come and help us. When we see the bigger picture, we saw that, oh, y'all are going after women's bodies. Well, let us get the hell out here and march with y'all, because if they're coming after y'all, and we just barely got in the door with our rights. It was in the 1970s where teachers couldn't be openly gay in the classroom because they would get fired for being gay. So it's like, why is it that we can see the bigger picture? We can see the need for unity. We can see the need to stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, to make sure everybody gets the same rights and things that the Constitution has set forth. But you can't see it when it comes to us.
Talk about it. Yeah. Sasha, Deej.
I guess I'll your question mentioned like bodies that can birth. So I'm a doula, and my focus is Black cis women and queer and trans people. And my focus is to ensure that my model of work is that every person deserves healthcare and medical care that's going to embody them as a whole person. Oh, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. As they're moving through the experiences that, you know, they may have questions about their body or they're not understanding what's going on. So it's important, like you said, banning of abortions, not only does that affect women, but it also affects trans people who can give birth, because now that it's going to add another layer of safety issues. That's another layer that I have to fight for and educate for and you know, be there for. So it's just we fighting for these marginalized groups is important to me, especially for birthing. It's because I don't know, even for myself, going to the doctor as a cis Black woman, I don't get the care. Sometimes I feel I don't get the care I deserve. Mm-hmm. So imagine moving through a system that's going to misgender you all the time. You're going through invasive procedures, and sometimes even being verbally abused. Like this is just upholding like white supremacy and the Black bodies and, you know, queer bodies that go through these types of things. So as a doula, that's my role in like standing for marginalized people in that sense. That makes sense?
No, it does. Okay. And God bless you.
Right.
You can't pour from an empty cup. And sometimes you only have the capacity to take care of what's closest to you.
Right.
I can't make it to every march, every protest, every event. But I try to do what I can digitally and virtually to get the word out, to talk about things online and in person, so that at least like I'm still getting information out. But like so I have MS, and like it takes so much energy to do the simplest things, and I burn out very quickly. So there's just literally only so much I can do just in a day, in a week. Like I have to look over like a few days to see how an event on Monday may impact my energy 2, 3, 4 days from then. So like we want to be supportive of everything, but physically sometimes we just can't. Sometimes we can't make it to all of the things.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Let me talk directly to the panelists. Do you mind staying a tad bit longer?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I thank you guys.
But can I go back to something Deej just said?
Yes, go ahead.
Just to be clear, whatever your activism is, it's important. Whatever amount of energy, time, it's all important. So don't, and I know you weren't attempting to do this, or you probably didn't realize it. It can't, at least it came across this way to me. Don't minimize your activism because of limitations that you may have. It's all important. But it also goes back to what I said. Why is it that we see the bigger picture, but they can't?
Preach. I want to ask you guys a question. I was holding this on the side because I didn't know if I would ask it or not, but being that it was touched on, I might as well just bring it to the forefront. What does the world look like to you when it comes to healthcare in regards to being Black queer folk?
All I'm gonna say is medical racism is a real thing.
Yeah.
For queer folk, navigating those systems, like access to quality healthcare, access to insurance, access to food, not being able to make appointments, economic reasons, like healthcare is trash for us. Just realizing that, like, we're fucked. Like, we're fucked. I don't even know what else to say about that. Like, we're fucked.
So, like you, Sasha, I work in the healthcare field, and I work from a policy standpoint in the healthcare field. Part of the issue with healthcare and queer, trans, non-binary, the LGBTQIA plus community is we have been taught that we don't deserve. And because we've been taught that we don't deserve, we don't know how to advocate for ourselves. We can advocate for the world, but we can't advocate for ourselves. And then to break it down a little further, as Black women, both cisgendered and trans, you've been taught that you have the backbone and capacity to handle your atlas. You can walk around with the world on your shoulders and you should still be fine. If you have a little cramp, take a Tylenol. You should be good. We have to teach people that no matter how many letters a doctor has behind their name, they are still practicing medicine on you, on me, and everybody else. And if the first doctor you go to is not willing to hear you, they're listening because it's going in one ear and out the other, and they responded. But if they're not willing to hear you, go to another doctor. It is your right. You don't have to stay where you're not being treated as a patient, as someone who has medical insurance, as someone who doesn't have medical insurance, as someone who came here to be taken care of. We have not been taught how to advocate for ourselves. And I tell people this all the time. When you walk into a doctor's office, let me back up. I've told Jennifer this, and I've tell all my friends this. There are only 3 people in this world you need to be honest with: God, yourself, and your doctor. Why? Because if you lie to your doctor, they can't treat you. If you withhold information from your doctor, they can't treat you. If you feel like something is a little too private, they can't treat you. And when I speak about this, I speak about this as a person who is HIV positive and has been for 20 something years, as a person who was in a coma for 3 weeks, as a person who had to walk with a cane, who had a heart murmur, who is just getting over, as of March, stage 4 cancer. You have to know that when you walk into that doctor's office, they are going to be paid. You treat them just like you would if you were at the checkout line at Walmart. You want this person to give you the service that you are paying for. So don't go in there and you tell the doctor you've had a headache for 3 days and he tell you to take a Tylenol, you leave. No. I've had a headache for 3 days. I think I need an MRI. Well, I don't care what you have right now. I'm telling you what I think you need. I have a friend, Jennifer, and I have a friend, Tim, who moved to Florida, had a headache for 3 days and didn't want to go to the hospital because he felt, or he thought, that they wouldn't treat him properly. The man died of a brain aneurysm. We have to learn, because it's not that, and I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but it's not that the healthcare system sucks. It's not that your coverage sucks. It's that we are so conditioned to believe that we don't deserve the right healthcare, that we take what people give us. Like if somebody gives us a diagnosis, we go, oh, then that must be what it is. Then 6 months later, you wonder why the medicine ain't working. We have to learn to advocate for ourselves.
I will say this. The lack of representation within the medical community is a hindrance. But I think so many Black folk, older Black folks, we watched our grandparents and stuff and them not go to the hospital. And I think that, well, for myself, it was a little different because both parents worked for the hospital. So we spent too much damn time in medical center. And so of course when things went wrong or things with medical issues arose, we got instant care. Well, because our parents work here. Part of the reason why one of the things that keeps me here in Jersey, just in Jersey City for so long, still is that I'm scared of what medical treatment will look like once I relocate. Have I ever had to go off here? Yes. They check you and, well, I'm a doctor. I know what I'm talking about. You may be the doctor. Well, I got the PhD in this body. And I know if something is wrong. I will pull up on a doctor in a heartbeat. Oh, wait a minute. My skin ain't feeling supple. Something is wrong. Look at that. It's bumps on me and they ain't supposed to be there. Touch my back, oh, it's healing, it ain't supposed to be there. Look here, my mouth hurting, and it ain't right. I was sitting in this ER. I got time. It's my health we talk about here. The only time that I wasn't able to advocate for, I remember being a kid and you couldn't really articulate what was going on inside of you. But as an adult, there's times when I've had people in my ear, the earbud, and I happen to just pulling up on my doctor, and did you just say that to your doctor? Girl, what am I supposed to say? This is what I was doing. I'm going to be as honest as possible. This is what I was doing. I need to make sure this ain't there. And want some extras while you at it. If I can't come clean to you by what I was just frolicking and doing, what I just ate, help me retrace my steps if I'm not being clear with you. The one thing they ain't never got to worry about me lying. Look here, Jennifer, do you take your shot? Oh, girl. I was worried about drinking tequila and swimming. No. I have no problem giving you the truth. I will sit here, and if I can't get to the doctor, because my doctor doing something goofy right now. Oh, bitch got a ride. I went to my pharmacist. Look here, check this on me. My doctor's on vacation and the other doctor can't see me because my insurance doesn't let me see that other doctor. What's this? because the pharmacists, if you ever grew up with the old pharmacists before there's so many chain pharmacies, you had the neighborhood pharmacy. A pharmacist is still a doctor. They can diagnose some things. I have no problem. Hey, check me. What is this? What do you think? Help me with something over the counter until my doctor gets back from vacation. Because nobody can see me. And when they're not here, their team isn't here either. Type stuff. I have no problem with that. I'll sit here in a heartbeat and have elders in my family. Oh, this hurts. You want to go to the doctor? I'll take off. I'll go with you. I can do a Zoom from inside the hospital. Let's go. I got time. You never know, because it's so, as Jay Omar just mentioned, there's so many people around us who, yes, medical care for Black people are fucked up. Medical care for queer people is fucked up. Medical care for Black queer people is damn sure fucked up. But you have to also be able to articulate for yourself. And if this is when also safe space is necessary, because some people, even adults who cannot articulate for themselves, if you got a friend who doesn't mind being articulate for you, and you don't mind sharing your situationships, whatever it may be internally, with that said friend or family member, that safe space, ask them, hey, what day are you free this week? Can I make an appointment and you come with me? Because remember what I told you about? I'm uncomfortable talking about it with a doctor. And they'll come. I can't do that for everybody. I can do it for some people.
You're a doula. That's what a doula does, baby.
It's like, it's because it's so much. And also medical care providers, y'all gotta understand, y'all can't be sitting here talking about some, oh, we LGBTQ plus friendly, but then you got the homophobic security guard at the front of the door now, girl. Get it together. You can't be having people who's rude as hell. Because that's also going to be a layer of make me not want to come in here. You cannot say I am LGBTQ friendly. This is an LGBTQ safe center with a bunch of homophobic and transphobic employees, especially the ones that's right in the front.
Yep. Make sure your whole team is on board,
including the people checking people in.
Yeah. Your whole team. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember I seen a person one time at I don't want to say the hospital, but I guess they was a little too kind, too flamboyant coming in there and guard. I don't know exactly what was said. I just know what was said. Well, I know what the person said that the security guard said. I didn't hear it. But I was begging this person, if you're saying that you're in pain, I'm here. We don't know each other, but I know who you are. You know who I am. We can go in here together. Don't you let nobody deter you from getting the help that you need. Because one, you gonna fuck around, and that 1 minute may be a minute you can't get back to save yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And as from grown folks, please, if you got a good trusting doctor, get you guys a vast directory. It sounds creepy, but for those who don't have their family and stuff, or who choose for whatever reason you don't have your family or you don't have a partner, someone to advocate for you, put some shit in writing.
Yes.
Yep. So important.
Please put that in writing and go get you a little $10 a month insurance policy. Because I see the thing on TikTok and it made a lot of sense. If we sit here and start insuring our Black bodies, they'll stop killing us. You put that good money, nobody want to keep paying out.
Yeah.
Nobody want to keep paying out. Just to hold people accountable. Okay. In today's environment, with the various bans, laws, and attempts at silencing gender identity, especially in the communities of color, what role are you playing in creating a safe space for our preteens and our young adults?
I think personally, for me, and just the teens that I'm just around, I'll just speak of my community of like little family. I do have queer nieces, nephews, little cousins. Just ensuring and making sure that they know that they're safe with me. that they can ask me any questions. I'll answer them appropriately, how they need to be answered. Just like I said, just making sure they're in a safe space and that they have the vocabulary to talk about things that are bothering them, and just make sure that they have a family that's going to support them, really, and just letting them know that you guys are like our future. Like, growing up, I didn't know what non-binary were, or using pronouns, but they have this vocabulary now. We didn't. I know I didn't.
Oh no, I didn't either.
Right? I knew it existed. I knew like the feelings, but I didn't have the words and vocabulary to put towards it. So just let them know, like, you have all this now. You have all the power. You moving forward. This is for you. You create the safe spaces as well for each other and for people that are going to come after you. Just making sure they're safe, honestly.
I am trying to get more involved in communities that are like trying to do like outreach type things to younger teens, especially like Black queer teens or youth. Because like I said, I grew up in Philly, and I don't recall really seeing a lot of like queer or trans people. Like I didn't really do that much traveling like around the city. But like I've only ever lived in Philly, so like for like the queer trans people who don't see a lot of themselves in the people that they interact with, which is another reason why I want to bring virtual shows back. But honestly, I'm looking for more opportunities that may be like flexible to my disability, for me to get more involved with, so that at the very minimum I could be present, and like younger people can see a Native person being their authentic self, and hopefully give them a little bit of hope that they can do that for themselves as well.
J. Omar.
I think part of all of what you all said was great and excellent. And just to add on to that, what I attempt to do is recreate the environment that I grew up in, which was a loving and accepting environment, an environment where the adult in the room was the adult in the room, and the adult in the room was not preying on the child in the room. Oftentimes we have it to where these kids don't know that in order to be friends with somebody, you have to be attracted to something about them. And that attraction does not necessarily always or often have to correlate into sex or sexual encounters. You could be attracted to the person's spirit. And they're in. What I've always tried to do was nurture those attractions and show people that you can be platonic friends with someone without it having to go anywhere else. This is a safe space for you to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about, knowing that it's not going to go anywhere else. This is a safe space for you to come to, hang out, relax, eat a meal, and just be without the expectation of having to put on. And I think in doing that, what we do, at least what was done for Jennifer and I growing up, was it let us know that if something were to happen to us, the adults had our back, and not because they wanted something from us, or not because they wanted to get something from us, or not because they wanted to give something to us. It was just that they had our back. And I often, whenever I meet young people, and there are a few in my circle, and I'm 47 and I have 32-year-olds, 20-something-year-olds in my circle, but they know that in being in my circle, there's a line that we're never going to cross. The minute I give you the title friend, the only place you're going to move from there is to family. It's never going to be to sexual encounters, never going to be to none of that other stuff. You have this title because you've earned this title, and this is the realm you're going to stay in. Because I never want to abuse that trust or abuse that relationship that we've created by turning it into something else. So safe spaces for me is just the environment that I grew up in and recreating it.
Let me tell you guys something. In my mental, I try to always stay away from the children topic, because some people are fickle when it comes to their children, and that's their children. So I can't tell them how to parent, right? Yet, I've always done my best to make sure that any child that I intersect knows that hopefully you don't want to come tell me that you killed somebody, but I want it to be your safe space, right? And I don't think there's children in my neighborhood who's directly have stopped me, like see me on my porch and see me in the supermarket, or a grandmother, a father, and then another mother, 3 different people, for three different children have confronted me and wanted me to have a talk, and I told them I would, with them present, to help them try to voice themselves to that guardian and help you process what they're saying that can benefit the baby, right? I don't think that I realize that there's so much more that I have to do. I don't know how I'm going to find the time to add add another layer of things to my plate. I'm already pushing my breaking point, but I'm pretty sure I do have another layer, because the other day, Thursday, as I mentioned earlier, the program that I had attended a high school, and when I got there, I seen some of the students crossing the street like 2 blocks away, but when I got there at that moment in time and I got outside the school, I instantly became nervous because it wasn't my city. So if these babies sit here and become disrespectful, how do I handle that? If it's a Jersey City student, I may have a possibility of knowing your damn mama or daddy or guardian or one of your uncles or aunts, or big brother or sister. But I didn't think I would run into anyone up there. And typical show moment, once the principal was there, it was like, okay, it's now or never. You here now. You can't turn back. These babies have impacted me. I haven't posted about it yet. I haven't even posted about the prom, my first adult prom. Well, my first adult prom in Jersey City. Because I'm like a bag of emotions currently. Being with them babies for like them 3 hours was something, turned something on inside of me. Little girls, little boys, little folks. So many questions, so many private questions. Some of them have reached out to me through IG because they didn't want to ask questions, which in a public scale, met some little allies, some little LGBTQIA plus allies as well. And it was just the most beautiful thing to make sure that they understand the richness and the importance of them and their melanated skins, and don't let no one ever tell you you have to separate your blackness from your queerness. You are one whole person. No one doesn't have a right to know anything about you. You come out when you're ready to come out, things of this nature. And these babies, some of them were so well spoken, some of them was so full of emotion, watching some of them crying. And I'm like, hold up, can I go hug them? And to just be, I don't think I've hugged that many children in so long. I didn't, and this is when you don't think that your lived experience, your person itself is important. And while I'm hugging them, started making me cry. And I told one of the little people that I don't know what my life would be like if I ever would have saw me. Shit, I barely saw black people. It was like little black folks running around the TV screen. So, but when you have you and somebody who you can talk to, not with the yes, Miss Stang, no, not that. Someone to sit there and truly ask some questions. These babies was asking questions like about them not just becoming their best selves, but how to be better for the community, to be better for themselves, to help understand themselves better. And I don't think that I understood that I daggone sure need to make sure that for appropriate age students, that I am more accessible in a group setting to be able to lend my heart to those babies. I hope that that moment with me and the few who have access to me, that they can always reach out to me before making a bad decision. Because all we had was each other. We were the blind leading the blind, but we had each other. And a lot of people, even you would think that in 2023, there would be a lunch table with the queer kids who saying, "Don't fuck with me." But it's not. They're still being bullied. They're still being have to hide themselves, family and surroundings, work-wise and school-wise. It sucks. And even though you may want to show them positivity, at the end of the day, I can't protect them.
Right.
Because they still have a guardian who they possibly not comfortable enough to talk to. The little person that share. What were we in 23? When 21 came to me and stopped me in a little corner store and said to me that I don't know why they won't get me. I didn't know the person was even talking to me at first. I don't know why they won't get me, but I just want to be me. I'm not hurting nobody. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It was like one of those moments, nobody over here in this side of the story, just me and them. And just like, it's one of those moments like, fuck it, let me just go for it. You're like, hold on, you talking to me? And then this little person, I'm seeing them now, and they're still a young adult. I don't know when they'll become a legal adult, but they're still a young adult. And when I see them, I just be like, you okay? You know I'm here. I can't prevent anything, but at least you know you can always come talk to me. Just don't tell me you killed nobody, please. Yeah. Oh, I'm a box of emotions right now. Okay, I got another question. Bear with me. See, I'm reading notations. Remember, audience, I'm not being rude. I'm reading notations. What do you do to replenish your reserves? What activity or activities do you engage in to refuel your spirit, so you can continue to fight and do this work? Let me read it again.
Laugh.
Wait, I wanna add a little bit to that because that was my question.
Yes.
So, and I'm just gonna read what I wrote because, I wanted the context there because it's important. For so long, we've always been the ones responsible to bring awareness and educate the ignorant and misinformed about our struggles and how they can help. In addition to living the struggle, we also have to do majority of the work. There's more to us than just the work we do. So what do you do to replenish your reserves and to refuel the spirit so you can continue to fight?
Before y'all go answer, we're gonna do that in two parts. That's why I didn't read the other one yet, because I know I got it as like a statement and a question, but I like the statement as a question as well. But so let's just go with the statement I like as a question. There you go.
What do we do to replenish?
No. The first part that Deej just said.
The statement part.
The statement part.
A statement about like we have to be the ones to educate. We're often the main ones responsible for educating the people who are misinformed.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just feel like that's not my responsibility. Google exists for a reason. So I'm gonna point you there and I'm gonna rest. That's it.
I agree with that, but in the same token, I've been saying this since I was 19. You have to teach people how to treat you, and you may have to do it more than once. You may have to do it more than 2 times. You may have to do it more than 3 times. You are the educator of your body and how you're supposed to be treated. And all Google is going to give you, because don't get me wrong, I believe in Google right there. Go ahead, go for it. But all Google is going to give you is a generic explanation of what it is that you're looking for. Now, that generic explanation may give you the overview, but if you're talking about me specifically, I need to educate you on how to treat me. Like, I had a conversation with someone before, and it relates, but it doesn't. And it was about, oh, I'm tired of teaching men how to take me on a date. And my question was, well, how the hell else are they supposed to learn how to take you on a date? Well, they should be brought up properly. If they were brought up by their mama, they know how to take their mama on a date because sex and all that other stuff ain't involved. So they know how to do that. But how did they take you on a date?
Okay.
You have to be willing to, as exhaustive as it is, as tiresome as it is, and as much as you want to slap some people because they keep getting it wrong, and sometimes you feel like they're doing it on purpose, you have to be willing to repeatedly educate, and in some cases the same people, not because they don't want to learn, but because just like with our grandparents, they were brought up a specific way. And not everybody's going to get it the first, second, or third time. They ain't going to even get it the 4th, 5th, or 6th time. Not because they don't want to, but because in some cases, the person that they've been getting it wrong to for so long just be like, oh, that's just my mama, so let it go ahead. Hell no. No. Because if you let your mother do it, what's to stop anybody else from doing it? People used to pronounce my first name wrong all the time. My name is Jamell. My name is Jamell. People will call me Jamal, Jamali, and everything under the sun except for Jamell. And at first, when people first asked me why do I let people say my name wrong, and I used to jokingly say, well, my mother says it wrong sometimes, so who cares? But then I realized my name is the only thing that's going to follow me to the grave. This body will disappear. These bones will turn into dust. My hair is going to fall out. But my name will forever be on my tombstone. In this life, you are the only thing that you have. So educating people on how to treat you and educating them repeatedly, unfortunately, yeah, it is your responsibility. Fuck what you heard and fuck anything else.
Yes. But sometimes when I just don't have the spoons and I just don't have the energy.
That's why I agree with you. I said I agree with you.
on that part. But yes, I do agree that, you do have to educate people. But I feel like just for people that want to learn. If you're not even trying.
That's the key part.
Yeah.
They have to be willing to hear things that might make them uncomfortable. But and may require a change of some kind to, not, unlearn that like white supremacy and whatnot. But like they have to at least be willing to be open-minded and just hear the information with as little judgment as possible. And then it gets a little less complicated.
But to add to what you just said, you also have to be willing to be disrespectful. And I mean that sincerely. Like in some cases, some people are going to continue to do it because they feel like they have a right to you. You were born into this family. You're mine. I can do what I want to you. They're not going to learn until you say, and I say excuse the language because I don't curse it very often, but you have to be willing to go, look, motherfucker, this is the 4th time. After this, you will no longer have access to me. So do whatever you got to do to get it right from here on out, or go. You have to be willing to get and understand that sometimes getting disrespectful means that people are going to walk out of your life. And if they walk out, they weren't meant to be there in the first place. You were holding on to them, not they weren't holding on to you.
Let me say this to y'all, right? Well, say this to people, period. Do I mind teaching? No. But that's not an all-time thing or all-the-time thing. I cannot, I will not, I refuse. I'd rather curse you out and part ways. Especially, I think I've become a little more irritated with feeling the need to, knowing I have a need. How do you word it? I've become frustrated in recent times with having to teach people how to be respectful of me or of Black queer people, especially in a time where everyone is using this term inclusive. If you are so inclusive, then you should understand that Black people, I don't know what you about your race, I can't speak for no other race, I'm Black and I'm queer, I can't speak for nobody, no other race. You can't be inclusive if you think that Black queer people come in one size fit all boxes. Because we do not.
Mm-hmm.
I watched you speak to 5 different Black people. And I know that you damn sure know we all speak different, we all live in different directions, we all dress differently. So therefore, that shows you right there that there's 5 different kinds of Black people here.
Right.
There's Black queer people right here, so you cannot truly be inclusive. It's not okay to sit here and have a 1 or 2 token Black folk and think you've done inclusivity. No, sweetheart. No, that's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
We all not gonna look alike. We all not gonna agree. Shit, y'all don't all. Well, I assume that y'all or other races all don't agree or they all don't agree and see eye to eye. Because I know damn well we 4 Black queer people right here. I know we all got our own set of eyes, and I got an extra set on. But guess what? I know that we all don't always see the world exactly the same on every single topic. Okay, why aren't you all being inclusive?
Right.
And it's a sucky thing. And then when I say it, I do feel smacked in the face a lot. I've had some people who haven't treated me the greatest with me being vocal about things. Certain things I allowed those things to happen or I didn't speak up. I was in my damn 20s, spent my 30s in prison. So, hey, I am 47 now, even though he's still older. And I'm sitting here looking and I'm feeling like a kid all over again. Why do I want to come here? There's nothing here that looks like me. Mm-hmm. There's nothing here for me to relate to. I'm gonna applaud everybody always. Because somebody else feeling that they achieved something or literally achieving something, just being alive and taking a breath today is something to be applauded. But guess what? The same way I won't cheer for all of y'all, can you cheer for all of us? And we are not. If you take a box of damn cornflakes, you pour them in a bowl, you do know they're all not the same. This is not a Pringles. We are not a box of Pringles. Well, a jar, what you call them Pringles? A jar or canister? Canisters. This is not a Pringle canister. We're not uniformed. This is a box of cookies that's broken the fuck up. Some got more chips than others. Some got 2 chips. Some got a pale chip over here. Shit. That's how you begin to be inclusive. To truly have a conversation with community. Hear them and help them bring inclusivity there so everyone can truly feel welcome. I'm just getting so tired of people using these terminologies and stuff and smacking it on the label and saying, hey, oh, we're gluten-free, bitch. No, you got a whole thing of gluten in here. If you're inclusive, be inclusive. Not inclusive to what you think, or now you can put on the label and say, hey, this is my version of inclusivity. I can respect that. Right. But when you say inclusive, and I gotta still teach you, no, because you need more education than I can give you. Because you don't understand the definition of inclusive. But hey, Who am I to talk? Okay, let's go on to the second part of that question. What do you do to refuel yourself? Let me read it properly. Or is that good enough for you?
No, that was good. I'll go first on that one because you already know. Like I couldn't do it last year because of the whole cancer situation and not being able to be around people. But what I normally do, twice a month, I usually cook dinner and invite everybody over. Come in, take off your shoes, find a plate, find a place to sit, and we laugh and talk and breathe. I think what people don't realize is the importance of laughter and what role it plays in putting back what you put out into the universe. Because you're never going to get your exact same energy back. You're never going to get the same vibe back. You're never going to get you're never going to get back exactly what you put out. But to have people pour laughter into you makes it so that the next thing that comes, you have the strength to deal with it. And for me, the way to get that is to cook a huge meal, have everybody come over, and we just laugh until we can't anymore, or until everybody passes out on my sofa.
That's love, and I expect an invitation next time.
I think I'm kidding when I'm not.
Go ahead, Deej, Sasha.
Yeah, Deej.
So into
Oh, there you go.
I've been getting into gardening. I've finally allowed myself to like really play in the dirt, intentionally put things in the earth, and just learn how to tend to plants. And eventually, I want to have just like a small herb and veggie garden, because it's literally grounding. It's literally like you're playing with dirt. You're learning how to take care of something, and for me, it's just really it's something that I really enjoy, and I often feel better, at least a little lighter, when I'm done, like repotting a few plants or starting new seeds.
That's beautiful.
Sash.
To find joy, I just rest. I've been really just focusing on like health and wellness. Just finding time to breathe and be with family and be with friends and just relax, really. However that looks, honestly.
For myself, my ideal situation would be, I've been blessed to have some business opportunities that's allowed me to have a getaway once a month. They business getaways. I get to have my night to myself and just get to explore. But I haven't had that in a minute. I think my first time even getting away was like about a week ago to celebrate my birthday. And I turned up, but I never let my body rest. And as soon as I got back, I hit the ground running. Hit the ground running so much so that, goddamn it, I almost crashed the other day. My body was falling asleep on me. I had to pull over and take a nap in the car. Put the alarm on, lock myself in the car, and take a nap. I'm about to crash somebody's car up. And I just keep telling myself, girl, relax. You just got to make it through Pride weekend. Then you can take a whole sigh. June is just draining between Gemini season, Pride season of New Jersey and New York. Fix it, Jesus. I'll be tired, but in an ideal space, I would love to be able to just take a few days a month and just drink tequila and swim. Drink tequila and swim, and I'm a slide some eating in there.
It won't be the 2000 bottle though.
But I do have a little business trip coming at the end of the month, so I just got to make it through Pride, and I'll be able to breathe and just let my body reboot. These old bones, ugh, don't get confused. Oh, you 47? Oh, you look good. Don't let this outside fool you, girl. Because this inside's taking a whole different tune. Okay. I'm gonna bring this to a close, but I'm gonna give one final question. And the question is, what do you want the public to know and to take away from you in this moment? Let me start with J. Omar.
I would say in this moment, what I would love for the public to take away is communication is a two-way street. Honest communication is a better two-way street. Meaning, say what you mean and mean what you say without the fear of repercussions, because the only thing a person can do with the truth is use it. That's about it.
Sasha?
Black queer people exist, and our whole existence is a form of resistance. And we're here. We're here. That's it.
And queer can get used to it.
You're used to it, right?
I love it. Deej?
Black and queer people have always been here, whether out of the closet for their lifetimes or not. But it is a good thing for society to change, because that's how we progress. That's how we grow. Non-binary people have always existed. We just didn't have the vocabulary for it. I never felt like the gender assigned at birth, but there was no one I could actually share that with. But we've always been here. And if you approach us without like hate and judgment in your heart and tone, we're usually willing to give information and tell you about ourselves. But like, you can't approach new topics with skepticism, or you can't always approach new topics with skepticism, especially when it comes down to someone's identity, someone that you're actively talking to. Like, right. Be curious about the new knowledge. Don't like go into it thinking that that other person is wrong because it goes against what you learned growing up. Like, things change when we get new information, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. For myself, I'm going to say, let's lead with love. And for non-Black people who are using the term, you are inclusive, let's truly be inclusive. Okay? And to the Black community, you may not use the word inclusive, but I'm telling you, stop with the foolishness. Unity is the only way we are going to be able to survive, because as long as we keep being so pick us apart, it enables others. It makes it easy for everybody else, let me say. You're doing the work for them.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You're destroying your own race. Don't ever be a fool to think that Black Wall Street didn't happen with Black queer people in it too. Don't ever be a fool. Okay? We've always been here. And with that, happy Juneteenth and happy Pride.
Don't forget about the march on the 25th.
Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for some slides. I'm going to show some slides. Ladies and gentlemen, Queer Liberation March. Remember, Pride was a riot. It is going to be June 25th. We are starting from Foley Square at 2 p.m. And if for those who do not want to physically march with us or who cannot, it is quite all right, because it will be damn hot. You can view it live stream via our Facebook Live channel as well as YouTube, if I'm not correct. We are also, you can go to our page and our page of Reclaim Pride and Create Liberation March and purchase some t-shirts. I have a little cute little dainty one right here. All funds is going to a good cause, as well as, and we have tanks too, as well as we have a goal to reach, and every dollar helps. If everybody donates $5, that can do a damn good job in helping us to secure 2024's Queer Liberation March. Remember, this is no police, this is no corporate, this is a FUBU for us, by us, of all demographics. And please wear a mask for those who are showing up. Thank you guys so much. Sharing is caring. We love you, and thank you for loving us and supporting me in this venture.